Hi, welcome to Radical Academy. This is Sir Collins. Today we are going to look at 2017 paper 1 question under GCE, which came specifically under quadratic functions, question 22. So the questions that we are going to look at today, it's finding the coordinates of the points B and C, as well as finding the coordinates of the turning point of the graph. So the basic principles when finding the coordinates of the points under a graph, you look at the two principles, which is the x-axis and the y-axis. The basic principle in the line x-axis, we all know that the value of y in the line x-axis is always equal to 0. So when looking at the coordinates of B and C, since they align in the line x-axis, we are going to simply replace the value of y with a 0. Therefore, what we mean is this: y is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 8. Since the points align in the x-axis, the value of y in the x-axis is 0. So we do that. X equals to 0 is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 8. Okay, we interchange. We are going to have x squared minus 6x plus 8 equal to 0. At this stage, we can now use the principle of factorization method, which is finding the product and the sum as well as the factors. So the product here is simply the coefficient of x squared by the constant c, which is 8. It is giving us 1 multiplied by 8, it is 8. Then the sum is the coefficient of what is on the mid part, which is negative 6. Therefore, the factors, two numbers that we can multiply to give us 8, the same numbers, if we add or subtract, they must give us negative 6. We have negative 4 and negative 2. These are going to replace the mid part, which is the sum. Like that, x squared minus 4x minus 2x plus 8 equal to 0. We factorize by grouping. Yeah. So what is common here is x. Then we remain with x here, minus x into that, we have 4. This outside, what is common is negative. Here, what is common is negative 2. We remain with an x. Then, so here, we divide what is outside, negative 2 into positive 8. We are going to have negative 4, close bracket, equal to 0. So at this stage, you just pick one of what is under the bracket, since we have a common thing, and we collect what is outside. So we have x minus 2. Remember, all this is equated to 0. So we equate after collecting what is outside to 0, as well as we pick one of the common factors here, which is x minus 4, we equal to 0. Then we look for the values of x. X at this stage is equal to, we take this the other side, we are going to have a 2. Okay. Then as well as here, we take the negative 4 the other side, we are going to have a positive 4. Therefore, since we are told to find the coordinates of B and C, the coordinates of B, since we know that in this line, x-axis, the value of y is 0. The coordinates of B, coordinates always start with the x value. So the x value is 2, since B is nearer to the 0. So it is the one that is going to take a 2 instead of 4. So we have 2, comma, 0, the y value. As well as C, the coordinates will be the x, which is 4, comma, the 0, which is the y. So that is the first part of the question that we've answered, the coordinates. So this is how we can answer the first part of the question, which is part A, for the coordinates of B and C. We now move on to the second part of the question, which is finding the coordinates of the turning point of the graph. Okay, so the turning point, they simply mean where this graph is making a turn as it curves here to go this side. So what are we supposed to do? There are actually two ways of answering this, but I'll definitely stick to the simplest way under paper 1. Okay, so we simply need to look for the mid part, which is the value of x when this graph has been cut. So we are simply going to look for the value of x at this point after cutting the graph. This is where our turning point is. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? Okay, so what we are supposed to do, we have been given the equation. We copy down the equation y equal to x squared minus 6x plus 8. Okay, in this equation, we simply need to identify the coefficients of the x in the given equation. So we have the a, which is the coefficient of the x squared, it is 1. Then the mid part, which is the coefficient of x, is negative 6, which is the b. Okay, and this is the constant c, the y-intercept. So after writing that, you now find the value of x by writing x equals negative b over 2a. Here we replace the values of the variables that we have for a and b. So negative, for b we have negative 6 over 2, then the a is 1. Okay, when we multiply that, we have 6 over 2, and we have the 3. So this is the value of x. Okay, the remaining part, since we are taught to calculate the coordinates, we need to look for the value of y so that we have a complete coordinate. Okay, so after finding the x value, we get this value x, we replace in the original equation for y. Okay, now that we know the value of x being equal to 3, we replace where there is x with 3. Y is equal to 3 squared minus 6 and 3 plus 8. Here we are going to have 3 squared, it's 9. This by that we have 18 plus 8. When we work this out, we are going to have negative 1. Okay, since the value of x we know and the value of y we know, therefore the coordinates of the turning point will now be 3, negative 1. This is simply the answer for our second part of finding the coordinates of the turning point, which shows that the y value is lying here, which is the negative 1, and the x value here, it was a 3. That is all you have to do, as simple as that.